My Matrix got nerfed, sorry. I mean, it's not to be fair, Pika's been eating a lot, so maybe Hot Date needs to step up in that department. But apart from that, he's just been performing out of his mind. Obviously, we are moving on to Voskaya. Square One still on the blue. We are seeing Triumph still on the red. So we get to talk about Square One's comp a little bit, but it's going to be same old, same old. No Zenyatta, though. It's going to be a Moira Ghost instead.
Yeah, since they're pretty keen to try and feel out enemy teams, if they think that they are going to be going up against these DPS-heavy compositions, they're happy to bring out the Moira. And it feels like they kind of understand how to take a fight against Zenyatta 3-3 with the Moira, trying to leverage that you will get a Coalescence incredibly quickly to force that early fight, but they just didn't account for Awkward being as quick as he was to get that Transcendence on Numbani. Like, being able to get the Transcendence as quickly as Ultraviolet gets a Coalescence is insane.
They are changing their comp up, so they did see it was Moira 3-3, and Faye actually saw a load of rockets in there, actually giving a fair bit of charge over to Ultraviolet. Not a fair bit, I mean, it's 16, yes, but every percent really counts in GOATs, and even 20% onto the side of the Brig as well, in terms of support ult. So maybe not fire a couple of rockets on there if you know you're going to switch up. There's a very, very quick speed boost, though, onto Izzy, who ends up going down. Nice pin from Yelp as well, actually killing off Faye. So quick end to the team fight so far. Man almost gets the pin onto Yolf, but unfortunately it ends a little bit short as Angelic finds himself 2 kills.
Square One understand this incredibly well. They know they can't go for an attrition-based approach, potentially, because there's just so much damage coming through from Awkward. You've got to be very careful with how you make your engagements with a Moira. You do have that additional healing, but you're also taking so much more damage. So you've got to be very judicious with your engagements, and that's exactly what happened. They went straight in, managed to catch out Matman, went for a risky charge because they figured that they could potentially recover from it by using that Moira heal.
Well, Awkward is nearing at that Transcendence. Potentially the first ult for his team. Ultraviolet doing the same thing. Not 80% now on that Coalescence. He likes to use it rather aggressive. We'll see if he does the same thing. Very quick and clean team fight is exactly what Square One need to execute. There's the rally first. There's the Shadow. Went round the shield as 2 people hit the floor. But Joff actually gets pushed back by the Brigitte to make sure no damage, no additional damage can be forced out. A Transcendence for the side of Triumph is met with a Shatter as well from their side also, but Matman lays it down, instantly killed off as that Coalescence just ripped through the rest of the team.
Once again, Awkward actually beating Ultraviolet in the race to the spot ultimate. This man is hitting so many orbs, but it feels like Square One are just brawling out better. And one of the things I noticed, I was actually using an overhead cam to watch that fight. They actually play incredibly well using the static nature of the line of Coalescence, so they could deal as much damage and get as much healing as possible out of that ultimate. And we talked before about how sometimes Moiras can prioritize healing or damage, but the way Square One manage their movement allows them to extract both of them from that ultimate. And when you're getting both, that's maximum value from the support.
It's all about angles when you're playing the Moira using that Coalescence. There's the rally. It can't be matched by Big Alls, who's only 60% away. Graviton Surge locks 3 members in place. That self-destruct not quite finding anything. Will be another grab coming through from Tribe this time around, as well as that Shadow from Joel to stop the aggression. But Mystic already sent his self-destruct up high in the sky and finds 2 kills. Pibamitsu is going to go down as Dub finds the kill, but with no Reinhardt, you got to be in a bit of a rough situation for Square One, as that will be Triumph cleaning up the rest of the members, finally finding their footing on that point. They only had 50 seconds to do it in Harry, and they managed to make it stick, plus have ults to move towards the second point as well.
And Matman there really made the huge play. Usually when you do see a Graviton into self-destruct combination, you want everyone to be stuck in the Graviton Surge, but because they did it on a corner, it meant people could easily move around that and away from a blast radius. So Matman actually waited until the second the Graviton Surge was going to dissipate and charged on through. So we got the knockback onto 2 members, as well as the pin onto Jolf, and you cannot shield all of them as they were all caught in the blast radius. Very intelligent from Reinhardt.
Look at those ults available for Triumph. They got 2 support ults plus that Shadow. The Shadow does hit the ground and Angelic is going to fall. Oh, narrowly almost getting out. Faye ends up killing him off, and that will be a beat from Izzy as well to surge them forward onto the point. Dove has nowhere near that Transcendence. They only have that tank ult, that Shadow available, but Jolf was just caught out in no man's land, isolated on the corner, and doesn't want to waste it just yet. There is 2 ticks now been acquired, and 4 minutes now remain. A desperation sound barrier coming through from Angelic does land on 3 people, but they're quickly being torn apart.
And there's a sort of struck into the back, won't be able to catch anyone out. Here comes a re-engage from Triumph.
Graviton surge straight onto Izzy. That Transcendence as well from Ultraviolet, keeping them alive on the point. Hot Date yet again finding 2 people. Izzy falls, and that'll be Pipamitsu falling too. Matman almost the last one to go down. They finally be able to manage to recontest. Only with an inch of the point being taken actually by by Triumph, sorry. 83% and 2 ticks. They only need this 1 tick now, Harry, and they got 3 minutes to do it in.
And Triumph had some smart aggression there. The second they saw Angelic got picked, Izzy activated his sand barrier, knowing that there was no way to speed back and disengage from that sand barrier, knowing that Square One had to take that fight without an inherent disadvantage. But it seems like Triumph's shot calling fell apart at the end there. They couldn't really coalesce onto one target, so they lost out in the brawls, and that's consistently a theme between these 2 teams.
Another massive ult bank for Triumph. They don't have support ultimates, they don't have awkward either now as Ultraviolet goes aggressive and finds the kill. Pipamitsu still has that Graviton Surge. A very quick reset. Angelic only just finding the kill onto Izzy there. They know as soon as they have that Zenyatta down, they've got a lack of healing and a lack of damage as well because there's no Discord.
And look at all this space that's now being claimed by Square One. They're moving straight up to the spawn. Although this could be rather risky if Izzy tries to go for a back cap, because they've only got 1 tick to play with, but instead they're just going to back off for allowing Dove to get that last few little morsels of ultimate percentage he needs to get towards that Graviton Surge, and now he can match Pipamitsu for that. But we are looking at a lack of available support ultimates from both teams, so both of these Graviton Surges could be incredibly dangerous.
There's a rally from Big Ol to start off the engagement. They're just backing away. You see, Triumph playing rather slowly now. They know they're going to run into this grab. They have to get awkward to that ultimate. There's the Transcendence, another one coming through from Yolf as well. The Graviton Surge is going to met with their own Transcendence too. Ultraviolet keeping everybody alive, and a perfect boom straight onto the Reinhardt. Mystic lands himself with 2 kills instantly, and now they force themselves onto the point. Hot Day is going to have to do something pretty special to do a 1v5. That'll be the tick being acquired as we do see Triumph finally finding the cap.
Some great control onto the movement there of Hot Date. He wanted to come on and make sure that there was a little bit of extra stall, but the combination of the whip shot and the Lucio boot made sure he could not touch the point. And there's some great management of Reinhardt cooldowns there. We saw some good blocks coming through from Jolf onto Matman Shadow. It appears in the 1 versus 1, Jolf does have Matman's number, but the timing on that combination was so much better from Triumph, meaning that Mystic could pick up the value with that self-destruct. Meanwhile, Hot Days was a little bit later than you'd expect, meaning that Matman had the time to turn around and use his shield, and also with the Graviton dissipating, make sure everyone was behind him, and so that if they were all booped, they would all be booped behind the shield as well.
That's what I was talking about earlier, the tracking of the abilities from the Lucio. If you're in that situation where you need to be able to boot that Ryan, it's good to have that amp speed available to get yourself in position ASAP. You didn't see it coming. You're not going to be able to rotate your shield that quickly in order to look at the Lucio that's coming to boot you behind. And that netted Mystic 2 kills, and it netted them the point as well. 1 minute and 39 seconds in the time bank, pretty respectable. Fairly the average you see on Voskaya. It's such a broadly map towards the second point, Harry. It just seems to the fights honestly just seem to last forever.
Yeah, they do, and I've got a feeling of deja vu, Jaws. Once again, it is 2-0 in favor of one of our teams, and Triumph want to make that reverse sweep happen. They've got to do it right here, and that is the best start they could have hoped for, getting the full cap. So they have a clear win condition, and that's just hold anywhere on Volskaya and you claim the map. So we'll have to see what Square One are going to do to ensure themselves a full cap so that we can go to additional rounds. I spy a Symmetra.
Oh, Summit Cheese! Ultraviolet as well as... Oh, he's on the way. Oh, was that... Oh, was that it?
I think they wanted to catch up Mystic as he was scouting. They'd bring him up, use the hook, ideally on Mystic as he was retreating, but got caught out there. And you can see Dove now actually is on the high ground, so he doesn't have to worry so much about damage fall off while he's sending these shots towards Faye. We'll give up that position though and move forward with his team.
Oh, Dynamite not quite exploded by Pipamitsu. They do end up finding a kill onto Ultraviolet though. You want to really hit that Dynamite above their heads. It does so much ticking damage. Plus, if you get it damage boosted as well, that is so much ult charge instantly. In fact, Angelic goes down. 2 kill. All right, okay. Well, there's the damage boost. So 3. What? Heal your team.
Square One burning away there, and that's one of the weaknesses of Brigitte as a character, of course, Jaws, that she can't give that healing on demand if she doesn't have repair pack off cooldown. She needs to be able to hit someone to proc inspire.
Ultraviolet only just came back off spawn too, so it was Angelic just dying first, really netted them the kit that. Oh, that is. Oh boy, that's one for the montage.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it, Harry. You hate to see it, mate. Pibimitsu throws another dynamite in, tries to detonate it. It's got 40% towards Bob. He's incoming very soon, but we got a barrage coming up fairly soon as well. Awkward clicks on the head of Ultraviolet, takes him out already. We're seeing at least one kill go towards Triumph. They might just want to back off here. Square One don't really want to take another engagement. Going for the quick reset. Oh, he's okay. He's okay. Only a little bit of ult charge.
Didn't want to take that one without Ultraviolet, you're right. It looked a little bit like it was a boot from Faye. But then again, it wouldn't matter too much because Faye's already got Barrage, won't get that additional charge. And Square One now they're going to be changing up their comp. Dove no longer on for McCree. Doesn't want to play the hit scan roll up against Faye. Instead, we're going to try and give a little bit of additional protection to his team. Ultraviolet also going to move away from Zenyatta onto the Moira. The additional healing we've talked about before, why it is an optimal choice against these DPS compositions.
Awkward trying to find another right click. There's the barrage straight on the head of Dove. That is a nice defense matrix from Hot Date. Killing off FaZe. The block of barrage did land straight on his own face. That'll be Izzy with the Valkyrie 2. Might just be able to find the res as well. As Pibimitsu, long range shots. Kill off Angelic. So no speed boost. Surging them forward to stop that resurrection does mean they're going to hold the push for now. 1 minute and 30 seconds, Harry. And look at how many ults Triumph have.
Oh, and the way that Triumph are also taking advantage of these small chokes and the sightlines that can be used by Awkward and Pibimitsu is absolutely exemplary. They don't suffer from so much damage fall off, so they know Square One can't really retaliate for any damage that's thrown their way.
That coach gun as well, just sending Pibimitsu to safety on that high ground. As soon as the Winston uses leap, you know he hasn't got cooldowns. Self-destruct launch into the back line. Awkward's going to meet that with a Transcendence to keep himself alive. Pibimitsu's dead though, and now no Bob is available. This is the chance for Square One to take this point. Pibimitsu actually gets resurrected in the end as no one was actually guarding his body, and now Bob is launched onto the point, into the small house, but he actually just kind of gets LOS'd.
Yeah, that's not the ideal Bob. He was trying to get him up against those barrels. Instead, now it's an all-out brawl on the point. The Coalescence is going to be invested by Ultraviolet.
Hot Date finds one kill onto Matt Man, and that Coalescence from Ultraviolet keeping everybody alive and healthy. Faye is just getting sucked on in mid-air somehow. Not entirely sure how Moira can reach that far, but apparently she can. Izzy's being chased up here by Jolf and ends up taking the kill. Mysticus 2 is going to fall. That will mean Square One find the cap, but 20 seconds remain. It's going to turn into 420 seconds of 420 seconds? 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Oh, but Square One took so long to actually take that point. It's going to be an easy reset here for Triumph.
Indeed it is, and manages to reach him via long nails, Jaws, for longest of nails. Definitely worth that manicure. But we are going to skip the double change up. Pibimitsu is actually going to be playing for May here, trying to make sure that if Jolf engages, that he is going to find himself isolated, alone, and without any friends. But Square One here coming in from the high ground makes it much harder to try and get those isolations.
Also, no D.Va, so you can't eat the Graviton Surge. You can block it off with the ward, though, and Pibimitsu jumping into his own Ice Bolt to keep himself alive. Mystic not quite so lucky, and Matt Man's shield actually goes down in that engagement too. Dove takes that opportunity just to kill him off, and Square One now control the point.
DV will Hot Date going to be blocking down those points of Ingress yet again. There's going to be an attempt to Awkward for a charge shot, but no one's going to be here. And what was once an abysmal time bank on first point does like it's going to be very powerful on second.
3 minutes and 24 seconds. They only took 56 seconds to actually make it to second point. Quick math right with the head there, Harry. I'm not normally that quick, honestly. If you could see the gears turning in my head to work out that sum.
We've overclocked Jaws for this cast.
Steam would have been coming out my in my ears, that is for sure. And I also got it wrong because it's actually 3 minutes and 24 seconds, so it would have been 56 seconds. 54. Wait. No, I'm done, Harry.
You know this. Yeah, it is a 56-second cap right there. The May gamble coming out from Pibimitsu not really working out for Triumph, and now Triumph. They are the pace car, Jaws. We are 2-2. They've got a smaller time bank, 1 minute and around 40 seconds. Just like they're going to be showing off those DPS picks yet again. And why not? Pibimitsu is extracting insane value from the Ashe. Square One seem to have a little bit of trouble dealing with it on their attack. But the thing is, on the defense, they aren't pressured to move away from the Reinhardt shield. They aren't such a mobile composition that they need to be moving without a consistent barrier, which was a huge problem on their attack that they had for Winston. They know they could only put down that bubble or hold down the defense matrix for so long, and when it was not there, Pibimitsu, Faye, and Awkward would feast.
It's horrible. As soon as you lose that Ryan shield, you lose so much space potential. And Dove as well. He can do so much damage to that Reinhardt shield if he just focuses it, plus obviously the Zenyatta like you were saying. As soon as the shield's dead, the Reinhardt might as well be dead as well. Double DPS attack though, triple DPS attack, sorry, as Mystic is jumping onto that Sombra, Pibimitsu on the Ashe once more.
We will have to see what is going to happen here. Hot Day already catching a couple of those rockets, uses defense matrix, so that's down for 2 seconds. And Square One, they're going to hide away into the major health pack for him to begin with. Joff's going to move on to point to make sure no capture percentage will be coming through.
Oh, Dynamite straight onto the head of Angelic. He will be able to get healed up rather quickly, as they do have the Moira, of course. No Zenyatta to be seen. And look at the high ground control now from Triumph. They only need a couple of people to actually touch the point, one of them being Matman. Someone needs to actually deal with Awkward and Pivamitsu at this point.
Phasler running down a huge amount of rockets as well, already 85% of the way towards a barrage. Jov's shield is falling incredibly low. May have to back off and give up some tick, give up some capture percentage.
This is not good, but Izzy does end up going down. Awkward finds the kill onto Dub as well, but that Coalescence will be met with that rocket barrage. This time around, though, will be Square One coming out on top. Pivamitsu and Awkward have to play a little bit more safe now, as Angelic finds the boop on Pivamitsu straight off of the point. Straight off of the high ground, straight onto the point. Bob is unleashed on the point itself, trying to get the cap, was booped off, but spawn advantage for Triumph. They're going to be able to get back much quicker. Square One, they're in a very, very dire situation.
And Bob deals a huge amount of damage to him when it comes onto the point, so this is as good as Triumph. So he will get 30 extra seconds, Jaws, probably bring him up to about 40 seconds to try and cap second. And, well, they've got an EMP to try and make this work, and they've got a minefield as well from Matman should he decide to stay on the Wrecking Ball, but he may well give that up. Doesn't look like it thus far though. Wants to try and use this with the EMP. It will mean that Jov's shield could be taken down to 0. We'll have no way to sweep away those mines as you'd usually see a Reinhardt do.
Well, you got no shield then, Harry. It's a really give or take situation because you sacrifice so much shield health. They use that speed boost to rush forward. The mines go onto the point as the Valkyrie comes through as well. The MP is going to hit one, but a beautiful defense matrix from Hot Date there actually saves the life of Dub, who was EMP'd and lost all those shields. A shadow will strike the ground as the ball ends up exploding, and it will be man advantage for Square One as Izzy ends up going down as well to the poop of Angelic. Those mines are going to get cleared out rather quickly. Mystic deciding to die straight on the point to make sure they do get as much time as they possibly can, but it is OT, of course. Matman trying to get back on, only just manages to get the touch, but will be quickly killed off.
The job's going to be charging back, keep his team nice and safe. A victory Coalescence, and I would have actually liked to have seen FaZe stay on the Pharah there instead of move over to Brigitte. It felt like Triumph's engagement there, trying to use both the minefield and the EMP to deal a large amount of burst damage and to zone people away from the point, was kind of misguided because they didn't get the engagement all at once. Faye was caught out on his own because Square One just said, okay, if you're gonna just go into the back with only 2 of you, we're gonna take a 6v4 on your guys who are entering and then round back upon you, because we don't really need to play the point until you're so close to getting a tick, because until you reach 33%, you don't really accrue any percentage that's important towards the victory conditions.
Clear victory condition now for the side of Square One though. They cap first, they get 33% a second, and they will take the series 3-0. Triumph still not finding a map win. Was a little bit rough on Busan earlier on today. They did get 100-0. In fact, only just managed to turn it around on Mecha Base, but still a very, very close game. It does feel like Square One, and something we talked about in the post game to this. They're just on point when it comes to using their tank ults together. The synergy really has been the name of the game for them. These self-destruct straight into the grabs or onto the shatters have just been so perfect.
Do they have? Well, let's see if Square One wants to play this game again. Going to try and actually hook Mystic out. This was what they did last time. Want to get Big Ol up onto the main little area here. Maybe hook him as he tries to run away. Oh, they got the sleep. This is what exactly was needed, Jaws.
Oh no, Mystic!
Brutal.
And he gets naded as well. Oh, what a shame. That is not an ideal situation. Mystic ends up going down to Hot Day, and now the swap up comes for Square One. Might just roll with this quad tank, to be fair. Does it like, nope, Brigitte, full Big Ol. They're going to run straight onto the point, knowing Mystic isn't back yet.
And it's too risky for Izzy to go down for that res. They're going to find Matman straight away, maybe try and force him to use that leap away and chase him down. Pivamitsu will use a coach gun to get to safety. We'll rejoin with Awkward here. Square One step to the point.
They're going to go on that point, and Angelic actually falls. That Discord orb plus the headshot from Pivamitsu was easily nets him a kill. But one tick could be gained here for the side of Square One. They do have priority spawns, and Lucio's going to come back fairly soon. Ultraviolet earns himself the first ult of the game in that Coalescence. That's straight into the barrage, though. He didn't quite see that one coming. His Faye picks up 4 kills. securing and just saving them on the last bitter end.
And Faye was very smart there. He knew that Ultraviolet could not have the Fade available if he was using Coalescence, and you can't cancel that ultimate. Your main defensive tool as a Moira when you're in danger is to use that Fade. So if you don't have it available, you are going to be eaten alive by the barrage. Very intelligent play from a British player.
Sorry, trying to mock him slightly there by covering at the same time, but I appreciate it. Izzy's going to activate the Valkyrie. Ultraviolet goes down yet again. No Fade, no problem for FaZe. He lands a direct rocket straight on his temple. Couple of extra ults as well available for Triumph. They do want to use them, but for the moment, Square One are going to back out.
And you know, one of the primary calls, like we mentioned last time, is that they're going to be calling out when Ultraviolet uses Fade. The second that occurs, Faye needs to go deep, deliver that damage, and force Ultraviolet out, because Ultraviolet's healing is what makes this composition work.
There's the rally, so they don't go down instantly to Faye once again. The self-destruct high up in the sky, trying to catch off Izzy. He does land a whole bunch of damage onto Matman, but he was in Primal Rage in form, jumping away, so he's going to be more than safe. Lands himself on the high ground now, and Bob sent out straight to the back of the point. In fact, gets a nice little sight line onto the back line now of Square One.
I'd like to see a disengagement here. They can't really deal with the Bob. Awkward's going to use the Transcendence as well. The attempt at the self-destruct to take anyone out, not going to be claiming any lives.
Dubs jumps straight on it as well, so no extra damage could come through. Faye unleashes the barrage once more, but gets taken out in midair by Hot Date, who finds himself 2 kills in the fight. Awkward finds 1 in Dove. However, Mystic now is really the only person that can touch. 2 ticks have been acquired. Mystic gets demeched, and Awkward is isolated all alone. Even Izzy trying to buy some more time. They've bought enough for the moment. 40 seconds remain. They're going to have an additional 30 seconds to net themselves around a minute for this next push.
And now Triumph, they've got to play for the draw, Jaws. A late pick onto Bingle there will take away 10 of their seconds, 10 very precious seconds. Job's going to swap over to the Reinhardt. Dove has this Graviton Surge ready to go, and Triumph are so far away from any support ultimates. This could prove fatal. If there's any chance, Jaws, for Mystic to step up, this is it. If you can eat this Graviton, you can force the draw, but you've got to be able to mitigate this ultimate.
Man's in the front line. He's taking a whole bunch of damage, especially on that shield. Shelf is moving forward. Angelic boops Izzy off of the high ground, and now it's just tanks beat tanks. Shelf just running in there, undeterred by everybody. A nice shield slam straight onto Matman. The Graviton Surge gets sent into the background. The Transcendence keep them alive, but that self-destruct nets them 1 kill. Now it is only 33% that they need to acquire. The Transcendence did absolutely nothing but keep Awkward alive. Izzy's going to be able to touch, but Mystic ends up going down as well. It's the trickling of Triumph members now back onto the point to try and save the game. It's too little, it's too late. Square One net Voskhaya Industries and a 3-0 in the series.
Yeah, they will. Some great play there. And we did actually see an attempt at a charge in from Matman, but it was actually taken out midway. Well, not taken out, but it was actually booped midway through that charge, which meant that he didn't land onto the point. He actually landed a little bit further away, and it meant that he could actually be, once again, continually booped so that he couldn't get on and contest. So some great movement control there from Square One to not be too thirsty for kills, just being thirsty for the win, and that will actually net them this series as well.
3-0 from Square One. Just an incredible play from Ultraviolet too. Just going so aggressive on the Moira. Did get a player card. Healed 28% of his damage team's taken. As the Moira, you kind of expect that, especially in the GOATs, in the 3-3 comp. You're healing in tanks more often than not, but his target prioritization, and like we mentioned actually on the first push, them lining up and funneling people almost into that coalescence and funneling their teammates as well to receive the maximum amount of healing and damage at the same time, it's just almost perfect from Square One. They're going to be just a tough opposition to take down. There were moments of triumph, if you will, from Team Triumph. I mean, Izzy and Awkward especially doing a really good job of just coordinating these support ults. Never was there a layering of them, which you've seen a little bit over the course of today. However, Route 66 will be the next map, of course. Voskhaya Industries will be taken by Square One.
Well, with the choice of Route 66, I imagine we may see Triumph attempt a quadruple DPS approach. Thus far, they have seemed to have had their best success when they were playing off-kilter picks. They weren't trying to go for a 3-3 mirror matchup. And I think this is smart because, frankly, you cannot compete with the synergy of Jolf, Hot Date, and Angelic with Matman, Mystic, and Izzy, because Matman is one of 2 main tanks, so he has potentially half the scrim time of Mystic as you'd expect, and Izzy is a new addition to the team, so you don't have that synergy yet.
Well, Route 66 again. We can see a lot of Sombra. We can see a lot of Pharah too. this is the one map potentially that they could run a little bit more out the box composition. Matt, man, he's been doing a lot on the Wrecking Ball. We haven't seen any like crazy, like just insane things from him. However, he's doing a good job of actually creating space. I think they just stick on the Fire and Mercy again, especially if they're on the defense first. It would make a whole lot more sense. Although I'm just so scared of Square One's Ghost. It's just so good.
Question is, will they be able to force Square One onto something else? Because, like you said, Square One's Goats is so good that you have to be the one who steps to them. They will not move if you do not force them to. They've got to feel the need to go to something else. And we actually saw that from Square One when Triumph were running their heavily long-range defense. We saw Dove attempt to pick up from McCree so that he could duel out there with Faye. And that didn't work out too well for Square One. And that's when Triumph really were looking at their best, when they could force Square One off of these comfort picks.
Yeah, and the problem with Route 66 too, like, you can't hold up to their spawn if you're on the defense. If you're not running the 3-3, it's just almost suicide. You can kind of do it with the Pharah, but then you got to be worried about the Widow, like picking people out of the air, like an instant swap to Widow, and then just you getting headshot, or like the Mercy getting headshot, for example, and then quickly switching back to something else. Plus, when you get round the corner, there are so many places for the tanks to kind of hide and jostle around. For DPS, especially long-range ones like Ashe, like Widowmaker, even like McCree or Soldier, to get these good sightlines on you without putting yourself in danger.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that we've noticed with Square One is that they like to start rolling out with a Moira at the beginning, because they expect DPS picks from Triumph. But like you said, you can go back into spawn and have instant swaps on Route 66 because of the proximity it has to the car and where a 3-3 often defends. And that means if you see a 3-3 with Moira healing, you just swap over to a 3-3 with Zenyatta, and you will be able to beat out their Reinhardt in basically 9 out of 10 duels.
So it's pretty much suicide if you go to the Moira on the defense too, when you are running the 3-3. There is absolutely no way you could run that, because then you can instantly switch. If you're on the offense to the Zen, then you just click some heads, discord some peeps, and then you're pretty much all dead. There's absolutely no way. We've seen a little bit of cheese strategy from a Contenders Korea too, of like teleporting Bastion all around the place. Like there has been times where you could do that as well.
We've seen that from Morning Stars too in EU with Dridro on the Symmetra and Casper on the Bastion. The well-known Bastion of Casper.
Casper, the Bastion god. Also the Flex god. It literally can play anything. Anything. Torb, you got him. Bastion, you got him. Casper's actually a beast on Bastion. It's actually kind of disgusting. I know for a fact he has a Bastion account somewhere. I don't know what it's called, but I just know. Like, in the back of my brain says...
Probably just called Castion.
Castion? No, I 100%... no. Because then people would know who it was. Like a secret Bastion smurf is what I'm saying.
Maybe it's just in binary, like 1010101010.
Or just loads of L's, just go full barcode.
Well, Triumph are going for a little bit of DPS at the moment. Faye's going to be up in the air with that Pharah. He knows that there's no risk of a quick swap onto a hit scan from Square One, but look at this. Triumph have just identified, hey, they're running 3-3 with Moira. Let's just go for 3-3 with Zenyatta, because we're going to beat out their main tank most of the time.
Stream, like I said, this is really, really horrible situation now for Square One, because they have to end the fights real fast. If they don't, they're gonna, the war of attrition will end up in Triumph's pocket. They're trying to do that now, but you see, Matman's just taking absolutely 0 damage. Yolf taking just so much. He has the Orb of Discord just on him permanently.
And one of the little tidbits I'd like to note about playing Moira in this particular area is that because it's not that enclosed, you don't actually get a huge amount of value out of your Moira orbs, because they're very easy to eat if you have a trajectory into the enemy team. And they also, if you want to bounce them around your own team, it's very hard to try and get the precise bounces off of, let's say, uneven telemetry or geometry that is shown by the rock faces. So you don't get so much value out of the orbs as you otherwise would. Now look at the discrepancy in Ultimate Charge between Triumph and Ultraviolet. The next fight might well be free for Triumph if Ultra can get a good Transcendence.
That's why I always play Zen, man, and don't play Moira. Not because I don't like playing Moira, but Zen's just way stronger in this instance. 2 rallies been used from both sides, so... Armor's going to be lasting around 30 seconds as soon as it ends. That's a nice shout out from Matman, though. Finding Dove. People rush him on the cliff. A hot day once again, using that defense matrix. Little to no avail, though, as Izzy was able to find the kill with the boot. Just people now dying on car. Nice, actually, sealed slam straight into the charge, too, to send them both to the ground. Easy charge set up for Matman, who actually gets the kill onto Yolf, netting him some more ult charge, too. He's already up to 70% on another shatter as well, after he just used it in that fight.
And that was a highly effective economy push as well. Only 2 ultimates required. Matman's almost got the shadow, like you just said. He's going to be trying to compete with Jolf here. Dove does have a Graviton Surge ready to go, but it can be countered out to potentially take people off the cart when it's this close to being capped.
Well, it's time to go again. Angelic comes to rescue as Ultraviolet almost got killed by Faye. He self-destruct, launched up in the air. Ooh, only just catches Angelic. That is going to be the B as well, coming out from Triumph. This is very bad news bears for Square One right now. Angelic dying with the beat of his own. Couldn't quite get out quick enough. And Matman swinging for the fences. Kills off 2 people as well. Very quick and clean push from Triumph. We're going to move it on to second.
And my underrated MVP of that fight is definitely Faye. Like, from an outsider's perspective, he did nothing. But what he actually did was he demanded so many resources, because he actually made a flank to put himself right up next to Ultraviolet, where he could have been able to get a pick there, which forced Angelic back to get a boop on him to create that space. And then once he was away from Ultraviolet, he moved behind the Graviton Surge that Square One were caught in to try and get a shield bash onto Yolf. And that meant that he could potentially have created a good combo situation, but that required more resources to stop him from doing that. And those weren't applied to the front line of Triumph.
There's another rally. There's another beat come through from Square One. Big Ol does have his rally available. There you go. It's going to get sent out as Matman hits the floor. Ultraviolet is going to find a kill. Quick disengage from Triumph, but not before Square One can just turn them all into mincemeat in that corner in those tunnels. Player's going to go down. They do end up expending 2 ultimates in that, 1 ultimate in that fight, just the rally. But on the side of Square One, they actually expended 2. It was the beat and the rally both used together, and that armor is going to wear off rather soon.
Triumph unable here to be able to punish the aggression from Square One, who are going to be looking for yet another combination of either the Earth Shatter and the Self-Destruct, or the Graviton and the Self-Destruct, but Pibamitsu is ready for that as well. Matman is having a little bit of premium. There it is.
Oh, the Self-Destruct right on top of everybody. That shield only just surviving, but amazing counter shatter from Matman to make sure no damage came through. Another shatter comes down from Jolf, but a Self-Destruct from Mystic was way better. 3 pickoffs. He gets 2 with the Self-Destruct and the mech of Hot Date as well. Dove ends up going down to Izzy as he dies on the cart. It was so good from Matman. Perfectly telegraphed shatter to stop them from going down after that Self-Destruct landed on top of their grab.
And it was actually a really uncharacteristic mistiming there from Hot Date and Dove. Usually Dove will Graviton so that it will start to dissipate just as Hot Date's mech is about to explode, so Angelic can get a boop and put people in the space where they will be blown away. But everyone was actually stuck in place, so when Angelic tried to get his boop, no one got moved and everyone was saved by Matman's shield.
Oh wow, Hot Date's mech actually goes down super early, and Yolf is going to fall as well. That beat is going to seal the deal for Triumph as they do march on forwards. There will be a rally coming through as well from Square One, and a Graviton Surge thrown out as well. There, look, 2 people caught up in. Dove tried to supplement them with a couple of shields, but Big Ol is going to fall in the end. Dove is still sitting on his own Graviton Surge, but Matman is coming around on the flank, is going to help find the kill onto Dove in the end. Ultraviolet is going to get staggered a little bit more as well, and that'll be the push pretty much over. Triumph are going to cap second point.
All good going big right there, and 2 squishies in a Graviton can be enough usually when you are fighting these 3-3 versus 3-3 scenarios. If you know the enemy Zarya isn't going to come back with a counter grab that can be well followed up, especially if you take out a Brigitte, because the cleave that you can get with that rocket flail is huge when going into Gravitons. It can sort of discount some of the healing that may come in to try and protect people.
Uh-oh. There's a self-destruct launch to the back line. Nice positioning there, at least saving a couple of teammates, but not quite so lucky was Ultraviolet, who ends up going down. Mystic finds 2 kills. Hot Date demeched as well, ends up falling to Matman. They're continuing this push. They have 2 minutes left on the board, Harry. They've got a Transcendence, and Dove, still, mate, he's not pressed Q yet.
And crucially, in a cleanly lost fight, Angelic did invest for Sandbar. He thought he could save his team from the self-destruct that was coming through into it. To some degree, he did, but Dove now going on the flank. He's got his eyes on Pibamitsu. He's going to throw him away. He's going to throw in the Graviton Surge potentially as well. Mystic needs to be aware. He needs to eat this Graviton, but Dove is above and he's doing so much damage, so much pressure. He knows the Graviton is ready to go.
The Dove is above. There's the self-destruct launched in the air. Hot Date finds 2. Waited for the defense matrix to disappear. That's what we wanted to see. When he hits a man, he makes them count. 1 minute and 30 seconds remain, and they're going to hold straight up to their spawn because they've got a shatter.
Well, the Dove may be a bird of peace, but Dove's given some lessons in the art of war right now. Getting into Mystic's head, making sure that longer defense matrix cooldown could be used. Down go 3 jaws.
Oh my goodness. Izzy comes in with a sound barrier as well. A counter shadow from Matman. But all that healing, all that damage is going to be nullified from the healing of that Transcendence. Beautiful timing from Ultraviolet, but he's not going to be able to protect his teammates now. 3 members in the Graviton Surge. Angelic, everybody's going to go down. Hot Day now scurrying for spawn, ends up getting demech too. They bought a lot of time here, Harry, but still they are pushing. Triumph now have the Transcendence against Dove's Grab, who's going to be coming out of spawn soon.
This is nowhere as clean as it needed to be, considering Triumph's investment. Dove has that Graviton Surge ready to go, and it seems like he's got Mystic's number whenever he tries to go for these. He's managing to make sure that defense matrix is not available. He's already spamming in those mortars from far away. It's going to be a disengagement from Triumph. They can't kite back forever, however, because they don't have the time. There are only 24 seconds remaining.
Self-destruct, launching the back line. Another slam actually hits the ground. Yof gets moved out of the way, but it finds nobody. 3 members trapped in on the Graviton Surge, but Awkward is going to meet that with the Transcendence. A self-destruct onto the point as well. Nets nothing at all. 2 kills from square one, however, as Matman and Awkward end up going down. They're going to need to touch the point. There's only 5 seconds now remain. It's going to be all said and done. However, a beat should and a Transcendence should be able to win him out. There's the Graviton Surge, launched in at the last second, but Hot Day is ready there with the defense matrix to eat it all up. The ball for the stall as Awkward comes back on in. Even Matman 2 is going to hit the shadow, but he's going to have to find a miracle play in order to end this game.
Well, that was some great mitigation on so many ultimates there. It seems like Square One really had the number. They managed to stop the Earth Shatter coming in with the Shield Bash, managed to eat up the grab from Mitsu. They knew exactly what was going to be coming.
They're still just trying to get onto the point. Mystics come back on the Diva, and of course Mitsu on the Tracer. Does have to end up going for the recall. And look at that Dove as well. Even had another Graviton Surge ready and waiting for the rest of Triumph. Now a very clear win condition sits in the way of, sits right ahead of Square One. If they just find a near complete cap, they will end up taking this 4th game.
See, I've got to try and explain the tactic that Triumph attempted to use there to make this work. What they did is that they threw Mystic self-destruct up in the air behind Yolf, or Jolf. God, we cast so many Scandinavian players, man. He threw up in the air behind Jolf so that Matman could try and go for a long charge. And with a long charge, you keep the Reinhardt stunned in the pinned animation as long as possible, because you're not concerned with dealing the burst damage. You're concerned with removing the Reinhardt shield so that he can be killed by the self-destruct that's above. And that meant Triumph needed to surge on forward afterwards and be able to, follow up on Matman's commitment. But what happened is that Matman, he hit the charge, but it seemed like Jolf either got a shield or was too far away from a self-destruct to enact the kill. And because Mystic had just used self-destruct, there was no mech available, so it was a free grab for Dove to place wherever he wanted. Got himself 3 squishies there, managed to make sure that Triumph had to maybe stabilize after they invested so much into one singular push. And from there, everything Triumph came up with, Square One had ultimately tracked. We saw Hot Date being able to eat Mitsu's grab, definitely had his number.
Well, Triumph coming out of the game with something a little different again. I see you. Double hit scan. Okay, Sombra. Widowmaker and the Ash. With the damage move from Izzy 2. It's going to be rather mean to actually walk into. Square One just jumping straight back to base. They're going to go with Bastion, it looks like. Setting up straight up on that cart. They're going to double shield tank as well.
I'm not a fan of Hot Date having moved the cart thus far. There we go. They had to wait for Dove to catch up, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to get on.
Dove is so slow. Oh, there he got on, Harry. It's okay.
All right. Speaking of bird language, he is going to be in a pretty nice egg of safety provided by Big All and Jolf right here. He's going to be laying down so much damage. Matman's shield is going to last for mere seconds, approximately 2 seconds against the damage that as Bastion can do.
An egg of safety?
Yeah, man, a safety egg.
Eggs aren't that safe, bro. I eat them for breakfast. Oh, gets dragged off the cart.
Jaws, well-known egg murderer.
Hey, they're delicious. What can I say? Dove doing a good job of just shredding the tanks in the front line. Will be 2 kills, though, as Faye takes out both healers. War of attrition now as Awkward jumps onto the cart to try and contest. Actually goes 1 for 1. What is happening? Awkward just jumping straight onto the payload, distracting everybody as Faye just clicks on people's heads from the back line.
I am not a fan of Dove moving out of his sentry form right there. He could have deleted Awkward and his 200 health in like 0.4 seconds. but for some reason he goes into Sentry form, gets himself out of a safety nest, or the safety egg, doesn't really matter, whichever one. But if he just stayed in Sentry form, he could have deleted Awkward so quickly. You gotta have better calls than that when you got these flanks coming in towards a Bastion. You gotta be more aware.
Well, Dub's on the flank this time. He's got Awkward in his sights. He wants a little bit of revenge. Hot Date's going to go for him as well. But Faye is going to be there with the Dynamite. He's going to be able to find the D-Mech onto Hot Date as well. They finally find the kill. However, they have lost their mech. That will be Faye going down also, as Angelic did meet him up on those cliffs. Well, that Mercy ultimate, better find a res, otherwise this could be rather wasted. Faye actually finally gets rezzed up as Dub ends up going down to the Widowmaker. Is going to get traded 1-for-1 as this cart is just refusing to move, as Matman has just planted himself on it.
They actually cancelled the res there by turning over to Brigitte instead of staying on the Ash, and now Square One have all the presence on the point that they want. Matman continues contesting, but how long will he be able to last for here when he's surrounded on all sides?
They got big heals coming out and a big blade as well. Nano boosted too. Izzy, get down from there! Oh,
get down from there, son.
Wings clipped as Dove ends up being the superior bird in that engagement. Izzy falls, and that'll be Big Ol potentially changing up from the Genji. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to wait and see. May want to stick on this dive though. Is Faye on that Pharah still? And Faye switching over to that Pharah as he was on that Brigitte, and Pibamitsu on the air.
Matman there actually gave up his superchargers to move over to Winston, which I can only assume was a preemptive attempt to make sure Dove could not EMP him and the supercharger, because they must suspect that it is live with the ult tracking that Izzy would provide. And now they're trying to control the high ground before they decide how to take their engagement here. Matman will actually open up, lay down the bubble on the payload.
Nice movement tracking there by Matman, who ends up getting slept anyway. A Transcendence was coming out from Awkward, and an EMP as well. Faye gets killed off by the self-destruct, and Dove ends up going down as well. So a 1-for-1 trade as everybody regains control of their abilities as they continue to hold the high ground. There is a monkey in the back line. Jolf going on the flank once again, but Mystic is going to snuff him out and kill him off pretty quickly.
Mitsu for now seems unchallenged, able to rain down from above with those bullets. I don't actually know what her rifle's called. I'll have to look that up. I'm usually quite the lore fiend, but not for this one, I'm afraid.
I only know the coach gun. I'm not.
Might be the lawmaker. I don't know.
Ooh, that'd be cool. If it's not, please change it to that. Nano boost used on the Winston. He was actually booped away though by the coach gun to make sure he can't get any extra damage up on that high ground. Finally reconvenes, but once again punished and actually booped down by Faye. Ooh, Bob coming out. He's going to get instantly slept, but someone woke him up! Who woke him up? I think it was the loose show, not what you want to do at all, as that beat ended up wearing off as well.
Well, we'll have to see if Bob can get much done. He's actually going to go away before he can get through the Winston shield. Mystic's going to throw him for self-destruct towards the back.
Nothing picked up apart from Angelic, but that's that was probably all that they actually need. Faye was actually slept during this rocket barrage as well, mind you, so tried to get that off in the tight corridors and get all that splash damage, that 4,000 splash damage, using that mercy damage boost as well. But little to no avail, as the sleep dart did connect with her chest. That does mean they're going to be halted for now. 1 minute and 50 seconds now remain for Square One to push it onto second. One of the downsides here of Triumph's comp is that after they picked off Angelic, they didn't actually have the speed to try and take out the disengaging attempts. Mitsu going to try and get that dynamite. Good coach going there to deny the dive from Jolf. Yet again, Pibamitsu just left completely uncontested. Another barrage has been earned. Joel finally finds his way up into the high ground and kills Pibamitsu in the meantime also. 6v5 for the side of Square One as Joel keeps himself alive with that Primal Rage, just being a bit of a nightmare towards Faye right now, meeting in midair with the Primal Rage. Pibamitsu has returned to the field, courtesy of a res, will blow up some dynamite and maybe do some extra damage. Faye and Pibamitsu have such a commanding position here, but there's a self-destruct. Hot Date with the two-beast. Izzy had nowhere to go. This ends up getting eviscerated, and that will be Pibamitsu going down as well. They now have 60 seconds to cap this second point, and then a little bit extra to push it on towards that third. But look at the composition here, Jaws. They're stuck with the Moira. Awkward has the advantage of being onto the Zenyatta here. They've just gone for the classic 3-3 to try and take this final fight. Triumph may well be able to seal the deal here. They might just be able to, but Ultraviolet has that ultimate available already. A Transcendence very early from Orc, which actually forces Ultraviolet not to use his Coalescence just yet. They can go for one more fight, Harry, as they lose 2, but someone's going to have to touch to force this into overtime.
Well, this is still good news for Square One right now. Jov could actually move over and swap over to the Reinhardt. He's got a little bit of time, and of course, Square One do have 2 ultimates at their disposal. They're going to give up the Coalescence. They want to put Ultraviolet onto the Zenyatta. I think this is very smart. Means extra damage onto Matman and Triumph. They know they have nothing. They had a full compositional swap up to go for the 3-3. They have the advantage of the Sandbar. They can control the tempo. They need to leverage this ultimate.
They're going to go for a little wraparound, Harry, as they do lay down the beat to enter and start off the fight. Pivomitsu is going to be the first casualty, with Awkward falling very low as well. A rally coming through from the side of Square One is going to get matched with the Reinhardt and the charge. Dubs finds a 2k with the Plasma Mortar. Mystic is going to fall as well. OT might be here, but Square One have stamped their mark on Route 66 and this series. They're going to be able to cap the second point and have a minute and 30 seconds to move it on down to third.
A great understanding of timing and economy there from Square One, knowing that they could make that work by just brute forcing it with the Sandbar and just running at Pibamitsu, just denying so much of Triumph's most reliable damage sources like the Zarya. Square One don't want to give up any space for free, but it does like Triumph are going to be trying to force them in.
But Dove's got a grab. Can they eat it? That is the question. They're looking for that defense matrix eat. However, Awkward still has that Transcendence to match it if it's necessary, that is. There will be a battle of Brigittes and a battle of Zens as Awkward ends up taking out Ultraviolet. They are still with ult advantage on the side of Triumph. They now have 5 raring to go.
And when you have one of those long fights, you do give both teams a long time to try and build up towards these Graviton surges, towards these all-important ultimates, and Triumph have really leveraged the need for those ultimates. Now are in a great position to try and win this one out. There's maybe 2 fights left for Square One, but they've got to be quick if they want to get 2 fights out of this.
He got 6 ults on board now as Faye ends up securing his. There's the self-destruct. In fact, everything's thrown out. There's too many effects on the screen, but oh no, when the kills start coming through, Hot Date finds one with a self-destruct. Another self-destruct launch on top of the Graviton surge coming through from Square One. Ultraviolet meets that with the Transcendence to keep him alive, but Mystic's already cleaning up the supportive backline. That'll be a 1-for-1 trade now as they are still able to touch the points. There is still time for Triumph to recontest here as overtime is now in session.
It's going to be a tale of 2 ults right here. Jaws once again. Angelic has the only one available on the side of Square One, but Jolf has the Earth Shatter almost ready. Meanwhile, Awkward has the Transcendence, can keep everyone nice and zen. They got to keep it calm. They got to keep it steady so Triumph can claim their first map.
Oh, Triumph with the perfect block is met with a sound barrier straight into a Transcendence, but Matman is already dead. Awkward was nowhere near him, actually a little bit cut off from healing as well, as the Reinhardt was moving forward using that shield to cut most of it off. Mystic gets demech'd as Dove finds his mech, and Yolf ends up finding the kill. Hot Day is securing the high ground and manages to kill off Pibamitsu as well. It is 2 meters from completion. Square One have got the names all in blue in the kill feed and get the win. Square One 4-0 in the series. That last couple of fights, a whole bunch of abilities going off, but in the end of it all, Square One find the W.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit scared for Square One when Jolf whiffed that first shatter into Matman's shield. I thought, okay, now Awkward can come in with a Transcendence, but it was just a little bit too late. And like you said, the sightlines weren't good enough to deliver the healing that Matman needed to survive there. And once Matman is gone, that means it's absolute feast for Dove. They were just worms to him. They were all feeding the ult charge. And at the end, he also laid down the Graviton Surge basically as a zoning ult, so no one could even contest the card.
Pika and Hot Date, 2 exceptional D.Va players we've seen already in the last couple of series. Both of them not only eating multiple grabs, but Hot Date, especially in that last fight, was controlling the high ground for like 90% of that fight. No one was dealing with him. The Zarya wasn't getting charge off of his mech either, even though he was very open. Hot Date just using the high ground to his advantage, plus raining down pressure onto the supports, forcing cooldowns out. Square One in the end of it all take